All right, what's up guys? Welcome to the channel. So I know this is pretty new for you guys. We're inside my apartment. There's actually a green screen behind me, believe it or not. And I want to start a new series called Shift Talk. Now, one, I think that's pretty funny. I just love that name. But two, this is pretty experimental. So I don't really know how this is gonna go. Just kind of trying some new things, having fun. Have like a little weird studio setup in my apartment, which is a little strange looking, but you know, we're just kind of rolling with it. I don't exactly know where I'm gonna take this, but I figured what I kind of want to do, just because I have so many of these thoughts throughout the day, at least let me just put them on camera and then push them out there for you guys. I constantly think about things I want to do, things I've done in the past, and really just anything and everything cars. So it's probably gonna be mostly Mustang related as we start, but we'll of course branch out into other car related topics. And we'll just kind of be a decent, quiet, sit down, chat, grab a cup of coffee and just enjoy the content. So we're just gonna see where this goes. Again, we're experimenting and trying some new stuff. So I do have a lot of things I still wanna figure out with this series, Shift Talk in general, like I was saying. But for the first episode, I'd figured I'd just kind of give you guys a little bit more history about me, kind of my cars. I think I actually put out, I think one of my second or third videos, kind of going over all the cars I've had. But I figured, I think this would be a perfect first topic for just an introductory video for the series of Shift Talk. So to start off, my racing career, driving career, started in high school like most. I got my driver's license on my birthday when I was 16. And I was driving in my dad's 1995 Impala SS. So that had an LT1 and a little crappy 4-speed behind it. But that LT1 was a pretty stout engine, which kind of cool because my first actual car that I got with my parents' help was a 1994 Camaro Z28 with a 6-speed manual. So that had the LT1 and then the Tremec T56. I really wanted an IROC Z. My best friend, he had a 1992 Camaro RS, but I still had the 305 V8. Dog crap slow, incredibly slow car. Like, he was getting stepped on by like tuned Mazda Speed 3s and Subaru Foresters. All the love to him though, all the love to his car. I love that 1992 and I really wanted an IROC Z. So that was between the years, I think it was like 1986 to 1990, where they had the IROC Z model Camaros. It had to have a 5-speed. I wasn't gonna do a 4-speed automatic, but I knew that was the car I really wanted. Couldn't find a good one. All the ones that were in decent condition, people were asking a lot of money for at the time, which is kind of reasonable. And then the ones that were in my price range, so like $2,000 or $3,000, they were just all junk. They were like total crap, and they were gonna break down probably every week. So what I did is I bought a 1994 Catfish Camaro, so that could break down every single month. That's a joke. Not really, it broke down a lot, and we'll get into that. So love that car. It was the weird hunter green that they had. I beat the crap out of that car though. So I've gone through 2 clutches in it. Never actually burned a clutch, but I definitely did break them. I think the first time was the forks, and then I think the second time was a spring or something, but had to have the clutch replaced twice in it. And I also crashed that car twice. And then after I totaled it each time, me and my dad rebuilt it, repainted it, and made it look even better. And I still feel bad to this day that I crashed it a second time after, I say we rebuilt it, he rebuilt it, and then I was just kind of his cheerleader. But I still feel bad to this day that I crashed that car right after, well, 6 months right after he finished building it, or 6 months after he finished rebuilding it. But overall, besides the 2 crashes and the 2 clutch replacements, which obviously is pretty significant, but overall, besides those 4 incidents, which, you know, 2 were my fault, 2.5 were my fault, the car was actually pretty solid. It was pretty reliable, never had AC, but that's typical for, 1990s General Motors. But the heat worked really good in the Minnesota winters. And I'd even throw snow tires on it and then drive it then. But the second time I crashed it though was right before winter. So I got like $6,000 or $7,000 from insurance money. So what I did is I took $2,000, bought a 2001 Ford Focus, also with a 5-speed manual, drove that through the winter, sold it, and then used the rest of the money to rebuild that Camaro. I had that all the way up to the end of high school and then the 3 months after high school. And that was definitely the highlight reel of that car. Kind of the last 6 months before I left for the Marine Corps, which I'll get into in just a second. But the 3 months of driving it in the spring and then the 3 months of driving it through summer, that was definitely the most memorable times and the most fun I had with that car. It was just like super cool. We painted it blue. It had black over the top racing stripes, and then like red side stripes on the front fenders. But it was just like such a cool car. So August of 2014 comes. This is 3 months after high school. I joined the Marine Corps, did a bunch of Marine Corps things for the first like year and a half. And then after that, I hit the fleet. I was 19 years old. And this is when, and I'm pretty lucky to actually be able to do this. Just at 19 years old, I went and bought a 2014 Generation 1 Coyote Mustang. And this was obviously a GT. It was a premium and it had the track package. So it had the Brembos in the front, and then I think like differential cooler and some other stuff, but super, super cool car. That car I drove for well over 100,000 miles for the next 5 years of my life, and absolutely loved that car. Now, I never really did anything to it. So it was, it was the gotta have a green color. I know some hate it, some like it. It was definitely interesting for sure. Definitely got a lot of attention and kind of broke some necks here and there for good reasons and for bad reasons. But that was a super fun car. Definitely did some very illegal driving. Definitely things you'd call probably a felony. I should have went to jail for some of the driving I did in that car. But what do you expect from a 19, 20, 21-year-old in a Gen 1 Coyote? Another car where I just have so many memories. And I think of all the Mustangs that I've ever had in my life, that's the one I by far and away have the most attachment to. It definitely wasn't the cleanest, by far and away not the fastest. Probably the worst color. Didn't look super great, kind of had a lot of dings and dents on it. Now, it was a 2014, so arguably the best body style year of Mustang ever created. But it was one of those, it was a 10-footer, if you guys know what I mean. It's a 10-foot car. As long as you stay 10 feet away from it, it looks really good. Anything closer, and then all the flaws pop out in it. But that's by far and away the car I had the most memorable fun in, for sure, and probably have the strongest attachment to. So had that through my whole rest of my Marine Corps year. So that was another almost 4 years I was driving it. Moved to Texas, drove it here for another year and a half. And then I sold it. Well, actually what I did is I traded it in at a dealership for a Camaro ZL1 1LE. That was a really cool car. Now, before I get into the Camaro, some of the things I remember most about the Mustang was definitely my first year driving it in California, and definitely my first year driving it here in Texas. It was the first time I've ever been to Texas when I moved here. And driving that Mustang around just felt so cool. Through the streets of Dallas, discovering everything brand new. Just kind of taking it out to dates. I thought it was just like so much fun. And now I'm talking about, wow, I really missed my life back in 2019. Anyways, that's another story. So, yep, had it here in Texas for a year and a half. Definitely loved that thing a lot. But I sold it for a ZL1 1LE. Obviously, when you have a ZL1 1LE coming from a Gen 1 Coyote, you don't really miss the Coyote all that much. The Camaro, I don't really, like, what's really sad about that car is I had it for almost 2 years, and I drove it probably 4,000 miles. I barely drove it. I don't really have a lot of memories in it. I didn't take any road trips in it. Most I do is maybe a couple fun trips on the weekend, and then drive it to the gym on Fridays. Never would drive it Monday through Thursday. And as much as easily as I could say that's probably my favorite car I ever owned, that was a car I have the least amount of connection to, or like, emotional attachment. I just never drove the car, and that was kind of sad now that I really think about it. But I kind of fell into that OCD anxiety kind of feeling with that car. What I mean by that is I got hyper fixated on how perfect the car was. So I came from a car that had lots of dents, lots of scuffs, lots of just like typical, highway road damage that comes with cars. But with the Camaro, it wasn't brand new when I bought it, but it had 330 miles. So it was basically brand new, even though it was like a few years old. But the car was, it was perfect. It was absolutely off the showroom kind of condition. And anytime I'd get any sort of tiny little nick, any little scuff or scratch or anything like that, just like the most minuscule things, I would just like have these internal freakouts. And I hated that feeling. I hated that so much. And that's why I really didn't drive it all that often. And it kind of breaks my heart now thinking about it. Like I said, that was such a cool car, definitely my favorite one. First time having a supercharged car, and it was obviously incredibly fast, being a 650 horsepower car. But yeah, I just never really drove that car. And I'll get into the car I bought as a daily in a second, but yeah, it just kind of breaks my heart how much I love that car and never got to drive it. But that was one thing. But that was kind of a lesson learned with that, is that I never want to do that again. So as you guys, I'm sure you know in my channel, I purchased a 2025 Mustang GT, brand new off the lot. We have a couple dings, a couple scratches. Well, I shouldn't say dings, but just like typical small little rock, indents or chips or whatever in the front. Like, I don't know. I don't want to fall into that trap again where I'm just like hyper obsessing over the perfection of a car. I want to drive it, I want to enjoy it, and I don't want to allow myself to have that kind of anxiety that I had with my Camaro, with my new 2025 Mustang. So we're just driving it, we're enjoying it. We're going to try to keep it in as good condition as possible, but tiny little scuffs and dings are going to happen. It's just, you're driving a car, like of course. And there always is the argument that you go and you can PPF the whole thing, ceramic coat it, but PPFing the entire car, that's thousands and thousands of dollars. I've done ceramic coating so many times in the past, but I don't think it really does anything. People say it protects the car. I don't really think so. It makes it look really good. It makes the paint look really pretty and fresh, but it still gets the same swirls. It still gets the same chips, the same little, rock nicks. Like, it doesn't really matter if you ceramic coat it if you're looking to protect the car, because in my experience, ceramic coating has never done that. Now again, I don't want to say it's not worth it, because it does make the car look amazing, and you definitely get that incredible paint correction, whether you go, what do they call it, like a stage 1 or stage 2 or 1-step or 2-step paint correction, whatever it is. So it's definitely worth it in those cases, but it doesn't protect the car. And with my Camaro, I had it PPF'd in the front. I ceramic coated it a couple times. Still was getting little nicks and scratches, freaked me out. Went and spent like $4,000 or $5,000 on a full wrap, hoping that would protect it. The wrap would get nicks and dings, and I just never ever want to fall into that kind of like self-inflicted anxiety on car perfection ever again. So at least I learned my lesson with that, and I definitely learned my lesson that in Texas you can daily drive anything. There's no reason why you can't daily drive a Camaro Z011 LE. If it rains, like I work from home, but if it rains, take it easy or don't drive. It's not all that often it rains here. And definitely with snow. Maybe we get snow once or twice a year. And by once or twice, I mean like a couple days at a time. Nobody drives when it snows here, so you're just like everybody else. You just stay home. So it definitely took away a couple, I think, pretty good lessons from that car. But what happened to it is it got stolen, just to cut to the chase. That car absolutely got stolen out of my apartment parking garage. I remember I was at my girlfriend's at the Times place, and I stayed the night there. And then I got like a text at like midnight, and I didn't see it until the morning. But saying like, check engine and transmission or something. I was like, oh, that's weird. Car's just been parked in my parking garage. So I drove home. my Camaro was not in the parking space. I saw the antenna ripped off and it was just on the ground. And I guess that's what the GPS tracking system does. So that's why they take it off those cars. And yeah, the car was, I mean, I knew right away the car was stolen. So went through the whole process, the police report, insurance. The amazing thing though with that is that my insurance is State Farm. And I bought it kind of right at the bottom level of the market, kind of during or slightly after COVID. And then it got stolen in like late 21 going into 2022. I'm sorry, it got stolen in the summer of 2023. And that's when car prices were at their peak highest. So timing worked out. State Farm paid me like $14,000 more than what I bought the car for. So I definitely made up on it pretty well. It's generally you don't buy a car and then get paid out for it $14,000 more. So I was definitely taken care of. State Farm took care of me extremely well there. So, that whole part worked out. Everything did really fundamentally work out. But when I was driving that car, I had it for maybe a couple months, the Camaro. I had it for a couple months and I was like, you know what I'm gonna do? I don't wanna drive this car. I'm like messing it up. So I bought a 2009 Infiniti G37S. I had the 6-speed manual. If you guys know, the CD 009 transmission, which is a pretty stout transmission, definitely stronger than the engine. That was a fully stock car. I never did a thing with it. Stock exhaust, stock ride height. Actually, I didn't even window tint it. I did have like 30% tint when I bought it. Even that, I still didn't replace. Later just drove the car, probably put 20,000 miles on it. When I sold it for like $500 less. But I think that's pretty good, like you buy a car, drive it 20, 25,000 miles, and then I sold it for $500 less than I bought it for. So super happy with that one. That was a decent car, but I had that car and I just felt robbed of all joy. Literally just felt robbed of everything I loved in life. The car just was not super interesting. It was not super fast. And I don't want to like discredit G37s, but coming from like a 650 horsepower Camaro or even, a Gen 1 Coyote, the car would just get bust by both of them. A G37 is just gonna get stepped on by anything you pull up to. It's not fast. So it just really, really sucked then. And I held onto that car. I drove it for such a long time. And I don't know why. I think I was just kind of a little afraid that if I bought a nice car again, it would get stolen. But I kind of did my research and I realized if you buy a Mustang, it'll never get stolen. But if you buy like a Camaro or a Corvette or a Challenger or Charger, those are gonna get probably much likely to be stolen a lot more than a Mustang. Like if you guys wanna see if a car is safe to buy and not, is pretty steel proof, go to a Facebook page that is for stolen cars where people announce that the car is stolen, where it's from, what it looks like to try to recover it. Go to go to one of those Facebook pages and just scroll for like 2 or 3 years through that Facebook page. And if your car isn't there, then it's probably a pretty safe car to buy. And what I mean by that is when you scroll through these, it's gonna be like Camaro, Charger, Camaro, Charger, Charger, Corvette, Camaro, Charger, Charger, Challenger, Challenger, Corvette, Camaro, Challenger. Like it's all the same, like 4 cars that get stolen. So a cool thing about that is that you'll never find a Mustang on one of those pages. I don't know what Ford does so well that makes Mustangs so difficult to be stolen, but I definitely just have that safety in Mustangs that I don't have in Camaros or Corvettes anymore, which really breaks my heart because if you guys know me, I'm actually a little bit more preferential towards Camaros generally than I am Mustangs. But here I am on my YouTube channel where all you guys have seen are 2 of my Mustangs that I've had. So what I did is I got way too fed up with driving that car, hated it so much, bought a 2018 Mustang, did some pretty cool stuff to it, just kind of like exterior mods, painted the wheels bronze, had them powder coated, lowered it, I did full bolt-ons, a dyno tune, was making 470 wheel horsepower with that on E85, kind of the typical stuff you do on a Gen 3 Coyote without, actually going crazy and boosting it or anything. And I drove that car for probably almost 3 years. And the car treated me pretty well. There was a couple issues to sort out with, not a big deal, never left me stranded. But one of the biggest issues I had that took me a little while to find is the catch can wasn't threaded very well. It's part of the PCV system, which operates on a vacuum. So I had a really weird vacuum leak because whoever installed that catch can didn't actually thread it on very well. So that vacuum leak just caused like really weird issues at idle. And it took me a while to find, but I finally built like my own smoke detector, took off, the air filter, and then sealed my little smoke machine. I said smoke detector, I mean smoke machine, but sealed the smoke machine against the intake and just blew a little bit of smoke through it. I saw where it was leaking in the system. It was a catch can, super easy fix. But generally, yeah, that car had been amazing, never left me stranded. I did have a tire blowout one time, but can't really blame the car for that when you drive your tires pretty bald here in Texas. Sorry about that, guys. My battery died on my camera, so I just swapped it out, and then it made me change some settings when I put in the new battery, which is kind of annoying. So hopefully it transitioned okay. Maybe now I'm like, look different or placement's different on the video, but hopefully it's okay. So besides the tire blowout on that Mustang, it treated me super, super well. And again, that was really my fault because I drove the tires way too bald. But this summer in June, that is when I really wanted to go buy my 2025 Mustang. I really wanted a supercharged car again, and I think I've probably also talked about this in past videos, but I really wanted a supercharged car again and didn't really want to go spend like $70, $80, even $90,000 for the prices that Camaro ZL1 1LEs are, or even, Corvette Z06s. Also didn't want to get my car stolen again. So I figured, you know what, like these Whipple kits are hitting the S650s pretty hard. People are loving them, they're super reliable. I was like, you know what, that's the route I want to go. And I know I definitely could have thrown boost at my 2018 Mustang with the Gen 3 Coyote, but I don't know. I just kind of had a feeling that that wouldn't be the best idea. I don't know, I guess something just kind of told me that. And I really wanted to start new. The new Mustang came out. I want to have the newest model. Not a super rational decision, not by any means, but I don't know. I just really wanted to splurge on a brand new car for once in my life. So, and just so you guys know, this is my first brand new car. All my other ones have technically been used. Yeah, technically have been used, but this one's brand new. So I don't know. I just figured, let me go buy a brand new car, throw a Whipple at it, and then kind of a month or so after I had the car, and I was kind of doing some mods. I already ordered the Whipple. That was on the way. So I had, the supercharger coming in probably, a month out. That's when I kind of figured, I'm going to start this YouTube channel. Like, I've thought about doing it in the past, and I regret not doing it so much. Especially when I had my Camaro. That's when I thought, let me start a YouTube channel. But I never did because I kind of figured I never really was going to modify that car. All I ever did was exhaust. And maybe I shouldn't say never, but maybe throw like a Magnuson 2650 at it and then start doing heads, cam package and stuff like that. But that was definitely a long ways out. And I was like, well, what am I going to make videos on? And now I'm kind of realizing that you'll never run out of ideas for a car. Like, you have to purposely run out of ideas for a car or a YouTube channel. Like, there's so many things you can do out there. Just from like explanation videos, animated videos, driving videos, racing videos, factual videos, kind of vlogging videos, build videos, modifying video. Like, there's so much stuff you can do. So that's kind of one thing I regret. I really wish I started this years and years and years ago, and really when I had my Gen 1 Coyote. But one thing you don't want to do is sit there and live in regret. Regret is a paralysis to action. So, you know what, we're here, we're trying to get content out there, gonna share, my past car life to you guys. So, it is what it is, but love what I'm doing now here, at least on YouTube. I've definitely really been enjoying it. And now we have our 2025 Mustang, but again, like I was saying, I didn't really film a lot of kind of the beginning processes of the 2025 Mustang. Like, I think it would have been really cool to film all the times I was negotiating and calling dealerships, just searching online, actually the drive up there, taking delivery of it, just stuff like that. I thought it would have been really, really cool. But you know what? Life goes on and you try to make the best of it. So we're here making our video. So that's kind of where we are now. To talk about the future a little bit with you guys, the Shelby GT350 is definitely something I've always had on the horizon. I wanted one so bad before I bought, actually I wanted one so bad probably a year after I bought my 2014 Mustang GT. Now, the funny thing about that is like, when I bought that Mustang, my car payment was like $400, 450 bucks. Not too bad. I was in the Marine Corps, so I was, doing pretty okay, like steady job, like not making like total BS money, but doing okay there. But it was my first time ever taking out a car loan and really my first time ever having debt. So like my car payment was like $450, but I was like throwing like $1,100 to $1,200, easily over $1,000 at it every month, just to try to kill off the car payment as fast as I could, or the car loan. It just made me, again, it was my first time having that kind of debt. It wasn't even that bad. It was probably like a $22,000, $23,000 car loan. Nothing super crazy, but it just like kind of gave me anxiety because it was the first time I ever had debt like that. Like I felt like it was like crushing me, and it really wasn't. Like I said, I was throwing like $1,200 at it every single month. And even some months I was out there like $1,500 just to kill the loan as fast as I could. I got the itch, the good idea itch. And I figured, I was like, you know what? I can do this like $1,500 car payment. That's totally fine. Or $1,200 car payment. It's totally manageable. I'm doing it every single month. And I was like doing price, loan and payment calculations for a 2017 Shelby GT350. Or actually at the time it was a 2016 Shelby GT350. But I was doing like, loan calculators. I was like coming up around like a little over $1,000 a month. I was like, you know what, I can do this. And I remember going to the dealership, genuinely and seriously ready to buy a GT350, because I figured I could do the car payment because I was doing it anyways on my Coyote Mustang. But thank God the salesman told me no. He actually showed me that I got approved for the loan, and it was like an $70,000 loan, just super, super insane. Would have been super stupid of me to take out something like that at that age with the money that I was making. But he literally like sat me down and and I don't even know if they're allowed to say no if you're approved, but God bless this man, because he literally sat me down and he's like, dude, I'm not gonna let you do this. This is like gonna financially destroy you. Like, do not, like, literally just said like, I will not allow this. Like, you need to save up for a few years, do something, but to go finance $70,000, $80,000 at 19 or 20 years old on a Lance Corporal salary in the Marine Corps is absolutely freaking stupid. So that put an end to that dream real quick. And then, obviously I was heartbroken, and I was like actually a little bit angry at him. And I was like, well, I'm gonna go to the next dealership. But I took a month off, kind of thought about it, had a come to Jesus moment, and realized how absolutely stupid that would have been. So thank God to this day, I never did that. Never bought that GT350. But now that we're a little bit older, we certainly make a lot more money, doing pretty well. It's definitely something I want to buy. Now, kind of the idea for the channel of what I've been tossing around in my mind is buying a GT350 and then throwing twin turbos at it. I'm definitely rethinking that idea now, kind of like how I rethought GT350 back in 2015. But I don't know. I definitely, what I really, really want to do for you guys is do like a whole build series. And I know we're kind of doing some part installs on the 2025 Mustang GT, but one, all the really big stuff, so the supercharger, the headers, obviously the tuning, I never really did myself, or the Whipple, or the pulley install, the smaller pulley. I never did that work myself. It was all the shop. And the biggest hindrance to that is like, I don't have a personal garage. I'm here in an apartment. I know you guys can't see because green screen, but I just have a parking garage, as you guys have definitely seen. And it's just not super feasible to do in-depth work like that, where I may need to just like take a break, leave the car overnight, and then come back to it in the morning. Definitely not safe to do in a parking garage, you know what I mean? Like leaving parts everywhere, just, you know, all around, just a bad idea. Definitely looking at buying a house in the near future, but there's also plenty of apartments where you can rent like a separate personal detached garage. And that would be incredibly ideal and a very awesome short-term solution for this. But what I really want to do is just kind of have a build series for you guys. And I'm thinking probably if I'm gonna do that, what I really should do is probably just go to another Gen 3 Coyote Mustang. Just one, they're gonna be a lot cheaper than a GT350. The Gen 3 Coyotes are definitely, no matter what anybody says. Actually, you know what? Everyone's gonna probably agree with me anyways. The Gen 3 Coyotes are just gonna be a generally more reliable engine. They're not gonna eat themselves to crap. They're not gonna consume all their oil. They're not gonna spin bearings or blow a rod or anything. Like, the Gen 3 Coyotes are just a tried and true system to go throw a bunch of boost at them. But what I really wanna do is install whatever power adder it is myself and film that and just kind of show you guys like a whole video, taking a stock Mustang, or a whole video series, just kind of taking a stock Mustang. We're gonna lower it ourselves, do all the visual mods ourselves, all the mechanical stuff, exhaust, everything like that. We're gonna do all that ourselves, film it on camera, and just show you guys like a really cool build video. Sorry, I keep saying that. Build series for videos, and just, you know, document on camera the entire process for you guys, and then go racing with it, whether that's at a track or a drag strip or both, really. But still toying with that. Probably at least a year out for doing something like that. Really, I do kind of want to build like a little bit more of a subscriber base on YouTube before I kind of do something super, super crazy, or, you know, money sinking as that could be. But that's definitely something I have in the future planned, is definitely doing some sort of build series. And again, with, you know, reliability obviously being a huge thing on the Voodoo engine, just kind of one thing with the GT350s is I'd be kind of afraid to ruin it. So if I threw a different hood at it, I'd feel like I'm ruining it. A different wing or a different splitter or anything like that, I feel like I'm kind of ruining a GT350 or GT350R. Where if you have a Coyote, you can go through anything you want at it. You're not really ruining it. You know what I mean? Like, I know you guys know what I mean by that. Like, throwing a bunch of visual mods on a GT350 kind of ruins the essence of what a Shelby GT350 is. But for a Mustang GT, like, that's what you're supposed to do. You should just mod it to crap. Not to crap, to high heaven. Mod the car to high heaven, okay? We want it to be good. But overall, that's generally what I've really been thinking about wanting to do in the future for this channel. Of course, just gonna do everything with the Mustang that we have right now, the 2025. I don't know when we're gonna do it, but I definitely want to. But I definitely want to up the boost. We're kind of at the bleeding edge of what the fuel system can provide, the safe bleeding edge at a 3.625 pulley. There are people who do a 3.5 pulley on a stage 2 Whipple on these Gen 4s, but you're really running into an unsafe territory where you are under fueling your engine, where the injectors just can't keep up. So definitely sometime in the future, want to throw like a double pump return cycle fuel system with probably 1,000 cc's or 1,300 IDX injectors. Definitely got to bump up from the current 55-pound injectors that come with the stage 2 Whipples. But again, still going to do stuff with that car. It's pretty good how it sits now. It's really easy to keep turning up the horsepower mark, you know, just keep cranking the dial, But that's where you kind of get into some serious trouble if you just like keep going with it, because the farther you get away from stock power, the more unsafe you're being with the engine in terms of not having a catastrophic engine failure. But that's kind of where we are now. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video series. And like I said, this is going to be shift talk. Again, it's experimental. Not exactly sure where I'm gonna take it. Definitely kind of wanna do fun, interesting topics, or you can just kind of chat about, really just yap about for 20, 30 minutes behind the camera, and just kind of put my ideas and thoughts out there to you guys and see if you guys like it. So we'll kind of figure it out as we go, kind of like everything else in life, especially on YouTube. But appreciate you guys tuning in here. I'm gonna give you guys my typical spiel. Don't worry about commenting, liking, or subscribing on my videos. If you guys want to participate, I would be more than honored. If you guys want to subscribe, again, more than honored, but don't feel like it's required. I know you'll watch 8 million YouTube videos in your life where people are almost browbeating you to like subscribe. We're not gonna do that here. If you guys see the value in the subscription, go ahead. If not, don't worry, enjoy the content. I'm just happy you guys are here watching my video. So I appreciate you guys tuning into this, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take care.